Good evening, everybody. Thank you for hosting this and giving us the opportunity to come and talk to you, both international students who are here starting your journey in Australia and the more established people here. Hopefully you'll learn something today. The key purpose of that is to keep you and your friends and your peers safe while you're visiting the beautiful coastline in Australia. Unfortunately, the reason why I'm here is that international students are overrepresented in drowning deaths every single year. And males, you make up nearly 90% of those drowning deaths. So it's really important that to enhance your stay while you're here in Australia, all the wonderful things that you do, that when you do visit the stress-busting water and beaches of Sydney and the beautiful Illawarra, that you know how to stay safe. Okay. So before I start, what do we do? What is Surf Life Saving? So Surf Life Saving New South Wales is the organisation that looks after volunteer lifesavers. So those lifesavers patrol on various beaches in New South Wales. And as I said, they are volunteers. We give up our time to make sure the general public and you here today are safe when you visit the beach. They wear the famous red and yellow uniform with the red and yellow quarter cap, and you will find them on the beach in this nice little tent. When you are there, the safest place to enter the water, and that doesn't mean swimming, that means paddling to your ankles, to your knees, to your waist. The safest place to enter the water is between the red and yellow flags. Those are indicated by that green tick. The reason for that is simply, if we cannot see you, we cannot save you. If you make that decision to enter the water, again, if you're not swimming, by doing that, you are taking a massive risk, okay? If you cannot swim while you're here in Australia, I urge you to learn to swim. A lot of the universities offer fantastic programs that we partner with. Take that opportunity, learn something new, and then you get that opportunity to be able to enjoy the coastline a little bit more. The ocean is a wonderful place. Go between the red and yellow flags. That's the most important thing I want you to take home tonight, as Simon said. Take that one nugget with you. Okay. So every beach in Australia is different. It has its own unique set of dangers. And these are identified when you go to the beach by these yellow signs. Now, unfortunately, there are no words underneath those signs, and that is something that we are working strongly with. But some are more obvious than others. But every beach is different. So if you go to Coogee, it has different dangers from Bondi. If you go to Manly, it has different dangers to Narrabeen. If you go to Fairy Meadow, it has different dangers to Wollongong City. If you are unsure of what that sign means, it's there for a reason. It means something is trying to hurt you. If you aren't sure what that means, speak to a lifesaver. So that is the famous red and yellow uniform of what our lifesavers wear. Again, volunteers. They give up their time to make sure people are safe. But they're not just there just for the fun of it. They are trained. They are trained in aquatic rescue. They are trained in first aid. But the greatest thing about them is they're giving up their free time, so they're friendly. Okay? They are a friendly and trustable resource on that beach, and you can ask them any questions. They are the local experts of that beach. They can help you find your car keys, they know where the toilets are, they know where the best coffee is. And more importantly, they'll come and get you out of the water if you're in trouble. So that's what we do, we're passionate about it. It's an iconic organisation, and volunteering just gives something back that feels so special to the community. And even by you learning something today, you can go on and tell your peers, your friends, your family, that one bit of information could save someone's life, you never know. So ask a lifesaver anything, okay? It says go swimming with adults. Some of you might be parents, some of you might have younger brothers or sisters that will come to visit. Make sure that you go into the water with your kids. One thing lifesavers are, amongst those all things, they are not babysitters, okay? Don't expect to leave kids or family members with us. We'll have a nice chat with them, but we certainly don't want to be going out with them if someone's there. Alternatively, you are adults, you make decisions. But please, just tell someone where you're going down the beach. It just makes the small resources that we have there are focused on rescuing people on the water. We don't want to be wandering around looking for people that have gone for ice cream down at Bondi and sending up helicopters, because it has happened. We want you to be safe on the beach, so please just tell someone where you're going. And more importantly, as was mentioned earlier, know where you are. Download the app. We have a Beach Safe app as well that will tell you where those red and yellow flags are. But the first thing that you're going to do if you need help, or you see someone needs help, is you're going to call 000. You're going to ask for the police and they're going to say, where are you? If you say Coogee, great, where are you in Coogee? You ask for the police, but one thing that's not going to happen is Josh is not going to turn up in his budgie smugglers straight away. He might be about 10 or 15 minutes, and that's something I want to talk about. So, if you do go into the water and you do find yourself in the need of assistance, the recognised signal for I need help is this, okay? Can I get all the students to do this and everyone in the room? This will ultimately save your life if you get into trouble. As I said, we're friendly, we're volunteers, we give up time away from our kids and our family. Sometimes that's good. But if you do this, we're probably just going to wave back at you and say, you all right? Make sure that you are signalling for help. It is never too early to signal for help. If you feel like you are in trouble and you need to get out of that water quickly, if you do this between the red and yellow flags, someone is going to come very, very quickly. We are trained to recognise those people in danger. So if you're just having friends or you are waving to someone on the shore, we would rather come out and check that you're okay. So please, along with knowing that that is the signal for help, learn to swim, learn to float. These are the things that ultimately could save your life if you get into trouble. In the water, in the ocean, in a swimming pool. So the famous red and yellow uniform, depending on where you are in Sydney, you might see different uniforms on the beach. So if you're at Coogee or Bondi, you will see that blue uniform. They are lifeguards. That means they are paid. That means that that is their role. They are there at those patrol beaches for 365 days a year. But not every beach is patrolled, so it's up to you, before you go, to make sure that there is a lifeguard or a life-saving service at that beach. So this is the most dangerous thing in the ocean. This is responsible for the most drowning deaths in the ocean. It's very cruel, it's hard to identify, so hopefully this video will teach you a little something about rip currents.
Rip currents occur on most Australian beaches. They are a strong force and at times can be difficult to see. You might think you know how to spot a rip, but the fact is 70% of people can't. And 2 out of 3 people who think they can spot a rip get it wrong, sometimes with deadly consequences. Here's how a rip forms. When waves break on a beach, they push water towards the shoreline. Once that water reaches the shore, it has to find a way to get back out to sea. So it flows into the deeper channels and away from the shore. These deeper channels are called rip currents, or rips. Here are some examples of rips. They can behave and flow in different ways. They can be found against headlands, sometimes they flow directly out to sea. They can also flow at an angle. Or the current may circulate back to shore. These are the things to look for. Deeper, dark-coloured water, fewer breaking waves, a rippled surface surrounded by smooth waters, anything floating out to sea, or foamy, discoloured, sandy water flowing out beyond the waves. Rips don't always show all of these signs at once. Some rips may only have 1 or 2 signs. Always spend time checking the water before you go in. Don't risk the rip. If the beach is patrolled, then swim between the red and yellow flags. Visit beachsafe.org.au or download the app to find out what you don't know about rips.
Okay, so quite a bit of information, but that information is key. The great thing about the red and yellow flags is you don't need to worry about that. We will never put those flags where there is rip currents, although we might change the position of those flags during the day. As I said earlier, not every beach in New South Wales is patrolled with red and yellow flags. In fact, the number is about 5%, I think, that actually has patrol. And as you grow and learn and explore Australia and New South Wales, you might find yourself at one of the most beautiful beaches in the world that has no red and yellow flags. Please, please don't take that risk. Unless you can identify that rip current, you're putting yourself really at danger. We have had incidents of people drowning, collecting their sunglasses from the water, trying to save their mates who have gone in. The cruel thing about rip currents is that the most dangerous part of that looks the safest and flattest. That's what catches most people out, from international students to multicultural communities that have no idea. I myself am a migrant, I'm from England. I had to learn all this stuff. Incidentally, the day before I started working for Surf Life Saving New South Wales, I got caught in a rip current at Whale Beach. And the lifesavers came over and shook their head saying, "What are you doing?" I didn't tell them that when I started work the next day. So just a couple of identifiers. It's worthwhile knowing what they are and how to identify them. So we have a saying, white is nice and green is mean. So that means where there is breaking waves, there is a sandbar, and that means you can stand up. But most people that aren't confident swimmers or confident in the water will actively avoid those breaking waves because they don't want to get knocked over. So they will seek, if there's no red and yellow flags, that smooth, calm bit of water. That is the rip current. A couple of fallacies about rip currents: they do not drag you underwater. They will not pull you out to New Zealand. Quite often they will bring you back to shore. But it's that process and fear and not knowing what to do if you get caught in that rip current. So there you can see it goes at an angle sometimes. It doesn't always go straight out. This is a really famous rip at Bondi. This rip is called Backpackers. If any of you have seen Bondi Rescue, the TV show, this is where most tourists, students, backpackers, holidaymakers arrive in Bondi after they've been 24 hours on a plane, or put their bags in the hotel room, go straight down to the bottom end of Bondi Beach, look where it's flat and calm, and head straight into that rip current. And before they know it, they're being pulled out to sea. There aren't red and yellow flags in that area, and that's why that keeps on happening. So through things like this, through education and programs that we run, we can learn that these are really unsafe areas to go. So the key thing that most people get in trouble is exhaustion and fear. So as I said earlier, learn to swim, learn to float on your back. Know that that is the signal for help, because I can tell you doing that and treading water for 10 minutes is really difficult. So don't put yourself in that situation in the first place. Seems quite obvious that Australian sun is very strong. I should know, I'm English and I know sunburn. Make sure that you are putting sunscreen on, and if you do forget, go to the lifesavers on the beach. They would rather give you free sunscreen than treat you in 3 hours with sunstroke. So really important that you wear sunscreen. So just to recap, find the red and yellow flags and make sure that you enter the water between them. That means paddle, swim, mess about. Look for those yellow safety signs and read them, obey them. They are there for the reason something is trying to hurt you. If you don't know what that means, then ask a lifesaver or a lifeguard. They are there to help. They are there to serve you. They are volunteering their time. Make sure you go swimming with your mates, always important. And signal for help if you get into trouble. Really important. And opportunities, before I finish, that we do run with many of the fantastic universities that are here. Look for those opportunities where there is beach safety programs. Quite often there's free lunch. Quite often there's opportunities to be involved as a volunteer. This can really create that social cohesion and break down those barriers. It would be wonderful to have volunteer lifesavers from different countries all around the world Because what would be better than someone going up to a group of people in trouble, understanding their culture, understanding some of the reasons why they're doing, speaking their own language and telling them, get between those red and yellow flags. There are opportunities there. Please come and talk to me afterwards. And incidentally, before I finish, one of the slides that Toshi had up, Nimish, who is standing on a round circle in a swimming pool, he is actually now, through going to a Learn to Swim program, he's going to be doing his surf rescue certificate and becoming a lifesaver. So what a wonderful 4-round circle. Thank you for listening. Please stay safe at the beach.